They're here to have a better life, and they're here to grow in whatever field they're in, especially Johannesburg in specific. So what brings you here? Like, what is the pros of starting a life?
What I think you're asking is why I have chosen to stay in South Africa as opposed to stay anywhere else.
Anywhere else, yeah.
I guess the main reason for me would be that I get to live in Africa, in an African country, because outside of South Africa and outside of Nigeria, I've lived in the US, I lived there for a few years, I lived in the UK, I lived in Asia, in Thailand, and again, it's always been clear that I'm foreign. So I guess I get a little bit less of that foreign in South Africa, and that's kind of great.
Yeah. So to add on to that, what would you say would be a challenge? Because I know it's not simple, and I know you are being foreign. There's obviously some minor foreign challenges of just integrating within a community that's unlike your own.
Yeah, the integration part, like with people, it's not that difficult because at the end of the day, we're still African, and so they're yeah, we can get along. I think it comes down to when you're trying to like stay, you know, when you have to go through government systems, they're a little bit restrictive. At least that's been my experience for someone with a Nigerian passport.
Yeah. So Maria, your experience is a little different because you have been here and you came here at a young age. So at a young age of
16.
Yeah. Yes.
Pretty young, huh?
Very young. So what was the difficulties for you?
You know, at the time when I came with my parents, so it was easy because my parents got a job here. So it was, I didn't really feel a certain way, you know, because obviously when your parents are still taking care of you, you know, you don't gotta pay bills. But obviously things became a bit more difficult, you know, like, you know, getting into my adulthood, you know, trying to navigate, you know, the South African environment, you know, industry, and getting a job. I would say getting a job is very difficult. I don't think getting a job, I'm not just saying like, you know, everywhere is hard getting a job, but here it's even harder because it's, you know, you need to have like, you know, the correct paperwork to work. You need to, but it's a very, 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 very hard process, you know. And like I said, I'm not just saying it's just South Africa that's like that. It's everywhere, you know. If you're a foreign person working, you know, and wanting to work in a different country, but here I've found it, you know, particularly very difficult, you know, to navigate into the employment industry.
And even trying to, just to add on to what you're saying, even trying to trade independently. So it's like I currently work in consulting, and if I didn't have the South African partner that I do now, I don't think it would ever work. So even trying to like establish yourself just in your work, it's really, really difficult.
Okay, yeah, I'm glad that y'all touched on that, because this is this kind of leads into a question that I have for y'all is, what's the difference between the cost of living here and other places? Is the cost of living reasonable based off of the opportunities that are given, the money that's being paid, and is it harder to live here than it would be for another African country? Because I know, just for me specifically, I come from the States, so life here is just a lot easier. And when I do look at other African countries, it seems to be a bit easier, but based off of infrastructure, based off of the organization of the community, is the cost of living easier? Is it better here, or is it better elsewhere, based off of y'all knowledge of living as adults?
I think that, I think the cost of living here has risen. I think, you know, it's a global thing, you know, it's like everywhere things are expensive, but here it's become extremely hard, you know. Cost of living is getting high, salaries are staying the same, unfortunately. You know, I think that, you know, and also, you know, we need to understand that there are kind of, I've noticed living in South Africa, I've noticed that there are different classes, you know. You get people that obviously, you know, you get middle class, they can live a bit more comfortably. You get people lower class, and you get people that really don't have much. Then you get people that really, you know, that really make a good living, they earn well. So I do think that, you know, it all boils down to, you know, to classes and like the kind of job that, you know, people would get. For example, you know, here, like I'm gonna use an example. I have a friend from Switzerland. She tells me that in Switzerland, cashiers get like about, let's say, $3,000 to $4,000 being a cashier. Here, when I heard how much cashiers get here, I was shocked. Like I'm like, how do people live with that? You know?
Yeah.
I think that the cost of living is very high for what people are getting in general. That's what I think. I don't know about
No,
you.
I
Toby.
quite agree. I think the wealth gap is, I mean, it's
huge.
gigantic.
Yeah.
So it depends on who you are and how much you earn, and I guess that oftentimes boils down to, aside from like the race thing, but your level of education and your connections and stuff like that. So yeah, I think the struggle is real in South Africa, let me be honest, but it's not real for everybody.
Right.
Yeah, it's true.
Sure.
It's
Yeah.
true.
That's real.
I need to point out that it's definitely harder for Black people.
Yeah,
that is like that's not even a debate. Like I always feel like when people say it's hard for everyone, yes, it's hard, but for Black people, it's been hard and it's still hard and it's getting harder. So like people need to keep in mind that it's true, we're all struggling, but I don't think we're struggling the same way. Like we're definitely not struggling the same way. I cannot perhaps say that, oh yes, I'm struggling. Yes, it's true, it's hard, but then the way I'm struggling, it's not comparable to how somebody who's maybe earning like, I don't know, 2.5 a month. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Class disparities, essentially.
Yeah.
So would you say, as a Black foreigner within this country, it is hard, it's even more hard than the Black nationals as it relates to, or would you say it's easier as it relates to finding a job and cost of living, places you live?
I think
you go down a list.
it depends what kind of work you do, right? So
Right.
if you're like a professional with a degree or 2 or 3, it'll definitely, as a foreigner, it'll definitely be a lot easier for you,
Sure.
right, than if you're a gardener or a domestic worker.
Right.
Yeah, it's a lot different for sure.
Okay, let me pause real quick. Yo, what's up, family? Listen, I was gonna show y'all love, but I totally forgotten it. The more I see that y'all are commenting, peace, family. What's good? Listen, I'm gonna go through some of these. I'm gonna answer some of y'all questions. If y'all got any questions for the guests, feel free to shoot them out. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm sure they can answer it in entirety. And this is what this is for: is to bring in interaction as well as answer some of y'all questions. So I'm gonna just look through a sec and see what's here. Let's see.
Oh, a lot of people are agreeing with the fact that like cost of living is just crazy now.
Yeah, I see that.
Ask Marie how she found the language barrier having been here for 15 years. Oh.
Yeah, let's talk on that. So the language
Someone wants to
barrier.
ask you about language barrier.
So okay, I'm gonna be straightforward.
Sure.
I don't really speak any South African languages. Growing up, I was speaking more like, let's say, global languages. I was learning English, I was learning Spanish and stuff like that. I found it difficult because obviously when people come to me, when another Black person come to me, they assume that I'm South African. I was told that I don't have features of Western or Central African.
What does that even mean?
I don't even know what I don't know what it means. But I think just in general here in South Africa, I think like if you're a Black person, the first thing another Black South African person would want to do is to speak to you in the language, which is absolutely fine.
Yeah,
You get what I mean? So,
yeah.
But what I've noticed is that when I can obviously understand a bit, communicate a little bit, but I cannot hold a conversation with someone. So once I'll be like, oh, like, okay, can we have this in English? They just ignore me or they become very rude. And I think they probably thinking that, oh, she just thinks she's like a posh lady. She's like bougie. No, I just don't understand the language, But I am trying to I'm making an effort, to learn a bit because I am in the country, and
Right.
I would like to be able to, at least like hold a conversation with someone, with other people, But I do also feel like sometimes, it's kind of forced on us to like learn the language.
Yeah, listen. So I just speak for myself. At this point, I know about 30 greetings in 30 African languages. It's getting to the point now where I only know the greetings. Like I'm not learning more because you're not. In order to really learn some of these conversations, you need someone in house, or you need a tutor, or you need someone to really focus to understand the systems of the language, because every language has nouns, verbs, pronouns, adjectives, and stuff like that. And not knowing those, you don't even know how to put the sentences together. So you end up learning one word, and then that word be the word that carry you to the next and the next and the next. So yeah, Sabuana, Mjolo, Wakadinis, like it's so many, you don't even know what to key in on. And then when people walk up to you and you don't know the language, they speak in whatever they know, but if you don't know which language it is that they're speaking, you're lost from the beginning of the conversation. So it makes it difficult. What about you? Like, how has it been for you being a world traveler?
I mean, back in the day when I was in high school, I did try to learn a bit of Setswana, right? And I understood a little bit. I mean, obviously, as it generally goes with languages that you learn, I understood a lot more than I spoke. But again, as it goes with languages, if you don't use it, you lose it. And so upon leaving, moving to the different places that I went to, I used Setswana a lot less, and I've kind of forgotten a lot of it, except the group greetings. Even though I still generally understand when they speak, I know what they're talking about. I just can't effectively engage in the language.
That's the key, to effectively engage. Man, it's so difficult. Sometimes it'd be almost like, one thing that's been frustrating me a lot lately is, the waiters, and me like trying to talk to them, and they're like, what? And I'm just like, yo, like, it gets to the point where you just don't want to talk anymore. And then they'll just bust a sidebar with someone who speaks the same language. You like, are y'all talking about me? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Now, what I tend to do if I'm out with someone who's South African or speaks the language, I just revert to them and let them carry the conversation, because, it's just like, it either seems like you're being a snub, like she said, or you're not even trying at all.
No, it's not.
And either way, you look bad.
I'm gonna just be that snob. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause I don't know what else to do. Like, it's like.
Shame.
So I would like to ask, what type of opportunities are there? For growth. Development. Anything that comes to just helping Black people out, like, what are there any opportunities that are at schools? Like, what made it easy for this transition to grow for you two?
Please clarify a little bit.
Okay, so a lot of countries, I'll just speak in America, I guess the military would be an opportunity. Foreigners could come to the U.S.
Oh, that's right.
And they can be soldiers, and if they become soldiers, they can get citizenship. Listen, I'm telling y'all, this ain't me telling y'all how to get there, but this is me telling y'all what they allow. I would not suggest it. Stay your tail home and fight for your own country. But they allow that in America. That would be an opportunity, a career development opportunity. What have y'all experienced, or is there any? Do y'all know of any? And if not, what would you like to see?
You wanna go first?
Okay, with opportunities.
Yeah,
for
foreign
foreigners.
Black people.
Like areas of entry, I guess.
I think this is what I think. I think that, if you, like, most foreigners that come here, like I say, when I came here to study. So what I've found a lot of, Black foreigners coming here to do is that they study, then they go home.
Sure.
Okay, so here, like, the tertiary education is very good in SA. It's one of the best in the continent, So I think it's really good. That's what I've seen. But after, for example, let's say, you want to stay in the country because you're adapting in the country, and also let's just put it out there. South Africa, the infrastructure is quite good, really good, as opposed to back home. So a lot of people, they would feel that maybe service delivery back home isn't as good as the one here. So people, they have their life, especially if, like, maybe you're doing like a very long course, like let's say a 5 or 6 year course, like you already live in the country, you already kind of know how things go, and then to kind of go back sometimes it's a little bit of a setback. So people prefer to stay here and get employment, but that's where it becomes a bit difficult. So I would say the opportunities are great opportunities. Like, people can study, they can get a proper degree, proper education here, and it's something that they can use, not even just to go back home, but even abroad, you really can, So I would say in terms of great opportunities for Black foreigners, education is the way to go. It's really good, especially tertiary education. I don't know if you want to add something to that.
I quite agree. I think there are definitely barriers to entry and to, like, development. But like she says, study, education is one of them. And if you're after studies, you're able to find a company that's willing to sponsor your visa.
Word.
If you find a company,
hey, companies,
then I
need you. I need you.
Oftentimes, though, they still would prefer to hire South Africans. Actually, maybe it's not the companies that want to, but government restrictions kind of force them.
Yeah.
It's because like you can't hire a foreigner if there's a South African that can do the job, right?
Of course.
But that's not necessarily the same in other countries, to be fair.
Yeah.
In other countries, it's purely based off of the individual. It's like, all right, we've seen you, we like you, we want to get you in. Essentially, that's how I've seen it so far.
Okay. Yeah. No, honestly, man, I'm low-key asking for myself in a way, but also asking for the people, because it's like, man, like, how do people stay? Like, how do people make a life here? You know, we got to bounce.
Unless you've got a lot of money, starting a life in South Africa is tedious.
Yeah, it's true.
They will never see how much money I have. So
good for you.
I guess they will never know. I guess I gotta go when I gotta go. But yeah, let me see what else they say.
Oh, they read.
What is y'all TikTok? What is y'all social media tags? Why don't y'all give y'all social media tags?
We're not even TikTok
I'm
people.
not on TikTok, bro.
Any social media?
Instagram I do have. I haven't used in a while, but you can find me at Aqua King. It's AQUAK1NG. Underscore between Aqua and King.
Okay.
Aqua King, because King Aqua.
Yo! Damn. Okay, I'm also on Instagram. I'm not. I know like a lot of people love TikTok, but I don't know why I'm not such a big fan. But I'm also on Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah. Should I give my handle?
Yes.
Can
Give
I?
the handle. Yeah, give the handle.
Okay, so it's ML. Okay, MLK. No, wait. MLKENDECK. MLKENDECK. Also there, like I'm a bit scarce. I try to, post, or post on my stories when I'm doing something fun.
Yeah.
But I'm not like.
Yeah, I
I'm
get
not
it.
like-
Social media.
Honestly, I didn't start really doing social media until I came here, and honestly, it got me this opportunity. So, hey, it reaches people fast. Sure, it reaches people fast, but it wasn't working in the States. So it's interesting that things take off in SA. But I like to thank them. It's y'all. Y'all did it. Y'all been
done,
great. Y'all been well done. So, question. Culture clashes. Obviously, we're different black people, but we all black.
Yeah.
There is things that go against who we are culturally. One thing I had to learn again is cultural assimilation, and being able to assimilate to a point where I'm not so prideful for my own culture that I can't learn to accept someone else in their culture. So what are some culture clashes that you've had since you've been here? Maybe difficulties outside of language, maybe whatever the case may be, food, the taste of food. Because you been Nigerian, spicy.
Dude.
Listen, bro.
Yo, that rice. That jollof rice.
Make your nose running so spicy. And here,
actually, I'm gonna just use that as an example.
Sure.
The food is different. I can only eat Nigerian food.
Man, come on.
I'm sorry. Like South African food is just. It doesn't have the same taste, I need Nigerian food is involved. Like they put a lot of time into it, a lot of ingredients, so it comes out really like our people, a bit, loud and abrasive, but you can get the flavor, there's nothing bland about it.
Yeah.
And I feel like South African food in certain ways, it could be like British, it's a bit just it's tame, and there's not enough variety. That's my view.
And it's the same for me. So the good thing is Cameroon and Nigeria, we kind of use the same. So actually, Nigeria use our spices. Hey,
police.
let me tell you, use our spices.
You ready to go to war?
Let me tell you something. Okay. Cameroonian food, let me tell you, it is so very. I have never like That's one thing I'm proud about for my country. Like we have different variety. Like you can never get out. Like you cannot do a month in Cameroon and finish all the food that's there. Literally, like there is so much. And also for me, because I grew up in a household where we eat a lot of spicy food. We eat like fish, like especially like I come from the coast of Cameroon, so there's a lot of seafood. You know, as opposed to here. Okay, with SA, I've noticed that, you know, it's pretty much the meat, you know? Yeah. And I love a good braai. Let me tell you something. I love a good braai. You know what I mean?
I love beans. So,
but I've noticed that there isn't much variety, or maybe it's just me. I've tried different stuff, you know? There's some stuff that I've really hated. Again, I'll never try again, but I've tried different stuff, and I do feel like, you know, when you go to different places, for instance.
Well, let's start. Wait 1 second before you go on. What did you hate? Because I would love to know.
I was wondering the same thing.
I'm gonna tell you.
Let me tell you something. So the other time, there's something called bobo tea. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right.
It's somebody told me to try that.
It's Afrikaans, I think.
Hey, so that ain't from us. If that's the case.
Let me tell you something.
What was it though?
It's like, you know, the first time I tried it, I was actually, I think, coming here to South Africa, and they served it to me on the plane. So it looks really like, you know, the surface problem. Looks like, it's like, you know, lasagna, but it was like, I don't know what the. I cannot swear. I don't know what the hell that was. That was nasty. Listen, it was literally a culinary tragedy. They must not cook that shit.
Culinary tragedy.
Like, let me tell you something. They must not cook that shit no more. Like, it is bad. It was like some stuff with raisins. I don't know what.
No, I thought y'all said it wasn't raisins in
it. Please do not eat that. Like if you're coming to SA, it's more savory.
Savory with raisins. See, that's already.
I do not. They must not cook. It should be banned. Like, no. Listen.
Okay. Look, I'm gonna tell y'all. Listen, and I be trying to keep on the low like my experiences, but I had something before and I could not swallow it. It was brown and it was pop.
Tragedy. Oh wow.
It was like brown pop. Oh. And I could not even swallow it. Now it wasn't nasty, but it just closed my throat up. Damn. And that's probably the worst food experience I've had. It was like I could not swallow it.
Here?
So yes, in Tembisa. So everyone was staring at me as I'm eating it. Yo, I was fighting to swallow. Almost didn't make it. And it was like, it's good, right? I'm like, yeah. Let me get some more.
Oh, man.
Get some more, brave man.
What about you? What is it that you had?
I listen, like I said, I'm very picky about what I eat. And so when I go to braais and stuff, definitely fucking with the meat.
Yeah.
You know, eat all the
meat fire, bro.
The meat's great. I love the meat.
Yeah.
The meat, you know, a bit of bread and stuff.
Yeah.
I keep it basic, you know. Like I don't explore too far out of my comfort zone, cause it's not. Yeah. Outside of West Africa, Nigeria, though, I would say Thai food is.
Thai food.
I like Thai food.
Because it's like spicy as well.
That's literally exactly why. That's the only reason why.
Just
the spices, bro. That's literally it. You know, I can make a list for you.
I don't know what I'm eating. I need to identify the animal that's being chopped up before I eat.
I see.
I'm just saying.
You're a bit skeptical.
No, bro, definitely. I'm from America, bro. You know what they do? You know, listen, they've been people caught with air seal bags of cats.
Yeah.
Yes, in New York. You can look it up. Look it up, y'all. Air seal bag of cats. We do not trust them, folk. Not no more.
Not no more?
Nah, not no more. It's because we don't know. Like, and then they get online and they eat. You see what they be eating, bro.
Nah, but I lived in Thailand though, so I know what they put in it.
Remember when COVID started? Yo, you remember what they were saying?
I remember.
It was like, come on, man. It just so happened the videos start popping up. So they used to be bomb, but again, I just need to go to the right place. I need to see them chopping up. I need hibachi style. I need it chopped up and cooked right in front of me. Otherwise, I can't trust it. Not this point in my life.
Keep it safe.
But what about street food? Like South African street food? Have you tried? Like,
what is street food in South Africa?
Okay.
Yo, you gotta go get the dragon meat at the taxi rank.
What's his name?
I call it dragon meat.
Or kota and walkie-talkies, like the chicken feet. Those are not.
No. Like I'll do like
the kota's bomb.
Kota, I'll do that. Or like stuff they from Durban.
Bunny chow.
Yeah, those are pretty good too.
I haven't had that.
You should.
Yeah, I
that's
heard it's
pretty
good. I heard it's
Yeah,
real
I mean,
good.
like I'm saying though, it's Indian, so it's got a lot of spices in it.
That's what I'm saying.
mess
Like,
with that,
if
you know?
you go to Durban, you might like the food there a bit. If you like spicy, you might like it a bit because they cook with a lot of spices and stuff like that. So.
See, but on TikTok, I be watching them Indians cook food. You know how they take their hands and they. Yeah, no.
No.
I need my food. I'm gonna need to see what you're doing.
But let me tell you
food.
something. Even in restaurants, the reason why we can't see what's happening in the restaurant because a lot of shit happened down there. Like let me tell you, your steak will be on the floor. They will pick that stuff and they will put it on your plate, and you won't know a damn thing.
Man,
you know what I
Which
mean?
is why I like to eat at home.
Yeah.
It's either my mom's cooking it or I'm cooking it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Safety first.
Yeah. Difficulties. What's a difficulty here? Is it the cost of living? Is it finding accommodation? Is it integration within the community? What would be considered difficult for your experience being in South Africa?
All the above.
Ditto.
Yeah.
All the above. Literally, let me use accommodation for instance.
Sure.
Oh my God, for accommodation, you literally need the blood of Jesus to get a home here in South Africa. I can, especially if you obviously want like a nice place in like a more secure and safe neighborhood. They're gonna ask you all types of documents. I mean, it should be easy to get accommodation, and I do understand that the reason why a lot of agents and like landlords do it's because they want to make sure that you don't leave in the middle of the night with your bags and like doodles, you know what I mean? But I feel like it's very difficult to find it. Like there's too much that's being asked just for accommodation. I mean, accommodation it's like should be a basic right, like to have a roof over your head.
But I reckon that applies to everything you try to do in South Africa, especially as a non-national. Like they ask you for every single thing.
Or they can ask you to pay 6 months of rent in
advance.
advance.
They've been trying to see my bank account. Every time I try to get some, I'm like, yo, no. I had to get a house, you know what I'm saying? I get him a bank statement. I was just like, why? Like, why? You see I'm here. Like, what would I be doing here? If I didn't have the money to be able to afford the
Whatever
security deposit So, the house thing I can see, man. I was, up until now, I've been Airbnb hopping and I finally found a place. So I can see how difficult it can be through the journey. Yeah, let's see what they said.
There's somebody saying we have trust issues. Foreigners can live without a trace.
I will say
any person can live without a trace. Can I just say, like any person can just decide to just like vanish. It's not just a foreigner thing. I mean, if you're not willing to pay, I'm just gonna put it out there. If you cannot pay, if you know that you're in a situation where you cannot pay and maybe you can't explain or whatever, anybody can do it.
This is a great country to disappear, and the fact that TB made it all the way to Tanzania is just a testament in itself.
Listen,
let's get on.
Not necessarily foreigners making that happen.
Yeah.
Let's get on.
To be fair, huh? Come on.
Let's get off of that. So when I first got here, a lot of people told me the crime. As somebody who come from America, even the crime they talk about seem very minuscule, even though it's not minuscule. All crime is serious when it's committed towards people who are innocent. And when I look at the dynamics of South Africa, I feel safer than I ever felt in my life. Now,
that's because you come from America, bro.
Yeah, let me tell you.
As a black man.
Well, I would say this though, I've been told more times by South African than I don't have culture. So even though I am a black man, I'm still looked at as different, which doesn't give me any type of, from me, it doesn't give me any type of hedge on y'all. But it would be interesting to hear,
on the topic
y'all
of crime,
experience.
Oh, I have a story.
Because for me, I feel safe. And
Bruh,
why is it that I feel
safe? Check it out.
Sure.
So I generally had the same experience, right? Like I've been living on and off for years, and obviously everyone, like in the US, people would always ask me, oh, crime in South Africa, A, B, C, D, E. I'm like, truth is, I have rarely encountered any until this 1 year that I got robbed twice in 2 months. Swear to God, bro. First, but also, I mean, perhaps I put myself in positions, but also I like to walk, and I don't think there's anything wrong with walking.
Oh man, I like to walk too.
Honestly, I like walking.
I be getting the warnings, but I'm like, man, I want to walk.
I want to walk.
Yeah.
Like living in Europe, the streets are walkable.
Sure.
And so like you walk. You can walk from wherever you want. Anyway, I got jumped twice.
Flip.
Knife point, bro. So I first started up saying, nah, whatever y'all talking about crime is a little bit overplayed. But then I had to experience it twice in a row. But still, though, that being said, I generally feel safe, especially because I know that I can handle myself.
Right.
You know?
I do not. Okay, I cannot. Okay, this is as a woman, as a woman, I cannot relate to what you're saying. Yes, I understand that, you know, crime in South Africa, it's been a thing for a while, you know, but I cannot relate to that because besides being mugged, you can get raped. Like, can we talk about that? Like, this country, you know, I love this country to death, but like the violence that is
Especially
pushed,
against
you know,
women.
against women, I have never seen that in my entire life. It is way too much. So I got mugged as well. I got mugged, and you know, it was those petty criminals. I don't know. When it happened, I didn't even understand what was happening. He just literally snatched my bag and he pushed me and he started running. And you know, it was in broad daylight, and I was trying to like process, like, okay, like what? I just got mugged. And stupid me, I don't know if it was stupid, I started running after him. I was so angry. I'm like, and it was like foot sec. It was like foot sec. I'm like, it's hitting me foot sec with my bag. Yo, it's hitting me foot sec with my bag. I was like, no, I'm not leaving this guy. You know,
I think there's a lot
I
of
ran after him.
crime of opportunity, right?
Yeah, but also with petty criminals, sometimes they're doing it because, you know, they're hungry or they want something to eat and stuff like that, you know. So I do feel like it's true. Crime is a huge thing in South Africa, and I do feel like it's kind of increasing, you know, with everything that's happening. But we also need to talk about, like, you know, violence done against women. Like, it's too much.
So, as a woman, okay, how's the dating scene then in South Africa? If you feel unsafe, how's the dating scene?
Let's say that, like, at night, for example, if I go out at night and then maybe I'm with friends, and then they decide, like, oh, we want to leave, and then maybe I want to stay, I just decide to go home because I don't want to be in a situation where I feel I'm preyed on, or like, oh, this girl's alone, maybe it's something, you know, and stuff like that. So dating scene, I think it's just better if you like know someone and then you feel safe around the person, you know. But I would say, you know, most of the time women, like, I think they go in groups, you know, just to make sure that nothing happens. Yeah.
So, in other words, if you're not going in a group, you're not going to go on a date with a man.
No, obviously, like, obviously, like,
I'm
you're not
trying to
gonna bring
figure
your
out-
friends. Listen, I know some girls do that, but like, I don't. Okay.
Hey, don't bring your
You're not
friends to
gonna
me
bring your
because I
friend,
ain't
like,
paying for
I guess
none of
I'm
y'all.
Four of them or five.
Right. Like, no, my friends are hungry. Let's just eat. No. Okay, I don't do that. I'm not saying in the sense where, okay, if I'm going on a date with a guy, obviously I'm gonna go by myself. But obviously, what I don't do is, you know, invite somebody at my place or go to someone's place. We need to meet in public. And maybe it's only after, like, you know, maybe a couple of days after we know a little bit each other, that maybe we can be in more private spaces. But no, like, I don't even think it's safe for anyone to just go meet someone randomly, girl or a woman. You never know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so I'm not saying I bring my friends to date like that. I know some girls do that, but I don't
you
do
better
that.
not. Y'all both gonna be eating alone.
I do that. Has that happened to you? Has that happened to any of you?
Nah, but you know what's funny is when I go to, like, whenever I am in Santon, I always see is always a table, one guy at a table or two guys, and it's a table full of women. I'm like, bruh, listen, I ain't that desperate, trust me. So what about you? I mean, you're a black man in South Africa. Listen, I can tell you for myself, man.
Like, you having a good time?
No, I'm not having a good time. But what I see, don't try to catch me up on camera.
I just didn't know what you were saying.
No, I'm not. But it's like,
well, what do you,
the attention is there. Like,
so what are you asking?
How's your experience been dating in South Africa? Do you feel like women are fearful of you and your actions, the way you talk? Because, you know, Nigerian brothers, you know, like, that voice be projecting up a little bit over just a common casual conversation. So how do the women take you, and what are your experience?
For me, generally, I think I'd like to think or assume that I seem non-threatening in a way. So I don't think the women are afraid of me, even though I know that women are generally fearful being around dudes in SA.
Sure.
But also, to be fair, I'm gonna say this. I think the fact that I'm Nigerian might help.
Yeah, it's true.
Man, okay.
No,
okay.
hear what I mean.
Yeah, let me hear it.
No,
Hear what
it's
I
true.
mean.
Like, I agree
Hear
with
what
what
I mean.
he's saying.
The fact that I'm non-South African lets them
Make them feel a little safer.
feel a little safer.
Nah, let me tell you what I heard about my Nigerian brothers and stuff. Listen.
From who? Did you hear that from men or from women?
Both. I hear y'all taking all the ladies from everybody, and I hear y'all making it hard for the other brothers because y'all like to spend money on the ladies. So is it true? Do y'all like to?
No,
Are y'all generous?
Generally, yes. I think Nigerian.
Is that just natural or is it just SA?
Nigerian men are generous anywhere, especially when they're like trying to court.
Sure.
Nigerian men are loved by South African women. Someone said it.
If you're trying to court, we don't
facts.
hold back. As much as we can, we'll do.
Y'all giving.
I also,
Okay.
adding to that, what I've noticed, right, is that Nigerian men can take care of their women. Nigerian men are providers. Do you understand what I mean?
Naturally.
They're not doing this 50-50 thing rubbish. No, listen. They're providers. They give you the life that you want, you know. And you know what? People can do whatever they want. If this is the life that you want, then go for it, honey. Like, we're not here to judge people, you know. And I think for me, the clash is because a lot of, you know, South African women, they tend to, you know, date a Nigerian man. I think it kind of causes a little bit of a tension there, you know.
I bet that's part of the rift, like part of the reason why we get the hate that we do. I mean, it makes sense, and I think they've said it. I mean, they told you, right?
Yeah. I mean, honestly,
oh my God, people, the comments. They know in SA they nyash. Oh my God.
But I won't lie about that. Yeah. Nigerian boys do like nyash.
They do.
We're all about that.
Oh man, listen.
Most of the time, very true. I completely agree with this.
Well, you know,
it's just
I guess that's a good thing. I would just say, you know, in my personal opinion, that's more so setting a standard of how women should be treated.
We just know how to share, bro. We know how to share. We know how to give of ourselves.
Yeah,
you know. But also, it's a culture thing, perhaps. I would like to think it's a culture thing. Like I think it all comes down to how you're raised, especially when it comes to like how you relate with the opposite.
Sure.
It's what you know that you put out.
No, it's true.
So
I agree.
Yeah, that's about it for me.
So dating life, whenever you've been at SA, dating life have been good for you for the most part.
I wouldn't say there hasn't been a few challenges here and there.
What's a challenge? Give me a challenge.
Wow.
Because let me tell you a challenge. Let me tell you a challenge I have first.
All right.
The culture. I'm from America, so automatically I'm attached to America. But I am African American. There's a big difference. I am Black American. There's a big difference. So it's times that I've had conversations and a woman be like, "Well, you don't have culture, but we can't do what y'all do for weddings," and kind of downplay who I am, not realizing I'm a king up in this mud. Like, it don't matter where I come from. And in fact, we got as much culture as anybody. The difference is we don't go parading our cultures and cultural garments and food. We don't parade it around. We just exist. You know, we're okay with being Black in our existence. We don't try to, prove to the world what we have created. It wouldn't be light bulbs if it wasn't for Black Americans, and that's part of culture. Like, people don't realize we're the reason why light bulbs exist. But people would say, nah, the white, yeah, but it was us. All the achievements they think the Euros made, there are achievements. You can look them up. So I think that would be the biggest difference between me, is the woman thinking that because I'm Black American, my culture don't matter anymore. Like, it's her way because her way is the right way. Not remembering who paid lobola. So what about for you?
Wow. I don't even know if I should be saying this, but you got to.
Let's hear it.
But all right, so bringing it back to what I said earlier about whatever experience it is that you have at the family level, often determines or dictates how you relate, when it comes to these types of things. So I don't know if I want to call it a challenge, but it is something that I'll absolutely flag. Is I think the family is really important in my view.
Sure.
Right? And I think South African women generally are hurt, and they approach relationships from a place of hurt. So I think this crisis of fatherhood that is becoming
Oh my
a
god.
global issue, in fact,
Actually, yeah.
is present here on a
It's being
very
present.
deep level.
Yeah.
And so, like, I was in a relationship for 5 years, South African girl. So I think what I'm trying to say is the family experience that you have often determines how you relate. So the person that I was with for 5 years, she comes from a very stable family background, mom, dad, everything. There were a lot of challenges that, whatever challenges we had were personal, right? And they were easily resolved. Since that relationship ended, and I've kind of dated a couple people here and there,
Sure.
I've started to, the one thing I keep saying is, oh my God, I've heard about daddy issues, but I'm really starting to know what people mean by it.
Oh yeah.
Does that make sense?
No, that makes perfect sense. You know, I have. Go ahead. Go ahead.
You know, I once, ran across a post on social media, and it said, South Africa is such a fatherless nation because, you would expect maybe you'll see a girl, a young girl, and she's with a man that's older, and people will automatically think that's a sugar daddy. They can't even imagine that that's her dad, because the truth is, there's such a huge absence of fatherhood in the country, and I think that essentially that's why, like he said, if you're, and I don't want to generalize, I feel like if you're born more in a whole place, like with your whole family there, I think it's easier for you to bring out, to have certain habits, that will be beneficial for your relationships in the future, as opposed to somebody who, maybe doesn't have like their dad around or their mom around, because it can be.
And we're not trying to say that it is the same across the board, of course not, but we're saying like certain things that you notice.
So let me add to that. So me being a Black American, we have done a lot of study, especially our Black psychologists, and they've done a lot of study on the Black psyche and what we go through. And all of us deal with post-traumatic slave disorder. And if you don't know that, Dr. Joyce DeGruy, she wrote that book, or it might be Dr. Francis Fresh Wells, but whichever one it is, they one of them made a book called PTSD, and it's really about how each one of us we were raised by people who dealt with a certain thing, and those were raised by people who dealt with a certain thing. And sooner up the line, it goes to slavery, colonialization, captivity. And you can't tell me that somebody who dealt with that can properly raise a child. And you can't tell me somebody that wasn't properly raised can properly raise their child, and so forth and so on. So it gets to a point where all of us are carrying these social traumas, these traumas put on us by other groups of people, and we show it in different ways. So the Nigerian's experience is different than a Ghanaian's experience. It's different than the South African and the Black American and Jamaican. So all of us having these different experiences, it may view from the outside like they're dealing with more trauma than your women, but they can be dealing with similar traumas, but just a different type. Yeah.
Brother, the way I've come to phrase it in my mind is, so PTSD, trauma is current. So the fact, trauma is not the incident. It isn't the day that or the time that thing happened. It's literally an electric current that reverberates through your body constantly and consistently. And you need to continue to deal with it on a daily basis, right?
Yeah. But can I also say something? Speaking of trauma, I think that we're all, I know very few people that don't have traumas, and traumas can come from a very little thing to a very big thing. I think the issue is also learning how to navigate with the trauma, because at the end of the day, we're all broken by something. We're all trying to just navigate through life with a very hurtful experience, and I think people need to learn that whatever happened, or whatever happened to them that put them in this position, they can't let it overpower them. And I think that's that is the issue here. People I don't want to say they use, but people think that because I have this trauma, I cannot choose to be better. I cannot be a better person, or I choose not to be a better person because if I choose to be a better person, this is what's going to happen to me. If I'm nice, for example, if somebody breaks your heart. Okay, let me use men for example. Can I use men? I like to use examples.
Sure.
I find that the way men heal as opposed to women is very different. Women we take our time to heal. You broke our heart, okay, fine. You don't want us anymore, fine. We'll cry. We'll be depressed for years, whatever. Yeah. But then we get out of it. We learn from the trauma, and I don't even think trauma is something that finishes. It's just it lives with us. It's just how you navigate life with it. But as opposed to men, for example, I find that men tend to choose to be broken. I'm sorry to say, maybe this is what my understanding. This is what I've noticed with men. Men, if a woman that he really loves breaks his heart, then it's fine. All the other women, they're the same. And I'm using this just as a traumatic, like just to explain trauma. I feel like the way women heal is a bit more healthy as opposed to men choose to heal. I feel like men, and also with men, I feel like men, there's no platform for men to speak about how they really feel without people making fun of them. And I think it's not nice, because at the end of the day, we are humans. And I think that, women, it's easier for us to talk about things that hurt us than men do. I don't know if that makes sense. No. So I feel like men walk around with a lot of hurt and a lot of brokenness. I don't know. That's just like that's just what I've noticed.
Well, I can just explain from my personal experience. I was a horrible husband, and I got divorced. Yeah, I was married. I got married at 22.
That's like giving a party at 9.
It's America. so yeah, I took myself out of the market at 22. I was divorced at 27. And that still sticks with me. The fear of failure, the fear of the next relationship not working out the way that I expected to. So that gives me some reservations on relationships. And because of what happened, I'm quick to cut someone off with the snap of a finger, because now I'm just like, well, it probably won't work. If we argue today, it ain't gonna work 10 years from now. And that's kind of what I be thinking, is that I don't even know if I'm at a place where I can grow with someone, because I'm still stuck on what ended me. So I'm 33 now. I got divorced we broke up when I was 26, divorced at 27, and I'm still single, because I'm still have that sitting on my back, like, man, what if the next one is I waste another 5 years.
But
and then
what
another
if the
5
next
years
one is actually the one? I think that's what
sure.
It's so important.
But yeah, I'm carrying it. I'm agreeing. It's carried. It's carried for me. And
my rights.
And let's hear how you feel about that.
Well, I think you're right about a lot of things that you said. What I will say though is, I reckon when it comes to interpersonal, intimate relationships, women tend to heal faster or better than men do, but that's probably as a result of what you said, which is they go through the process, like they have people to talk to, they talk to their friends, their therapists, they actually go about
their best friend that actually like them.
They do the hard work of attempting to heal.
Yeah.
With men, we're a little more fragile because our trust issues sort of heighten, and I think we already have that generally, right? And so we find it harder to trust, which means that we start to potentially blame the next person for the sins of the previous one, which is obviously not the right way to go.
Somebody wrote a comment there. I think it's HM Sono. She said, men aren't allowed to express themselves opposed to women. No, men are allowed to, but they just
choose not to. See, we think every time we express, but there is some spaces that we
need to create it for ourselves.
We need to create that, because women have
those.
Yes.
We need to create them spaces for ourselves.
And don't include them. We don't need to include them.
You have to, because it's for you.
Exactly.
And also, I think there's no shame in saying, oh my God, guy, like my brother, I've been hurt. This woman did me dirty. Like, I don't know what to do. I think that also as women, sometimes what we do, okay, and I hold us accountable, is that we make fun of men, and no, it's not right. I think sometimes we forget the fact that before being a man and a woman, we are humans.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I like that you said that men don't really have the space, that we create for ourselves. We rather just mope in our existence and just become angry after a while. I think we need to have more conversations as men, trying to tackle what it is that we have an issue with. Coming to South Africa, for the very first time in my life, I've seen brotherly love. I see men hug. I see men dance right close to each other. I see men drink and hang off each other. You know, where I'm from, you know, America Day ain't doing nothing like that. You know what happened? You're like, come on, bro. Like we've grown out of the brotherly love when we would, you know, hug each other every time we see it. Now we dap each other up or shake each other's hand, and we get more and more distance.
But
with the
men
handshakes.
don't know how to be intimate with one another because intimacy often alludes to sex.
Sure, but I would say
it doesn't have to.
I would say here they're physically intimate with each other, but
way
then
more so
going
than the
back,
US.
yes, but going back to us having those intimate conversations.
Oh, we still
'cause
don't.
How
We
often
hold
do us as
back.
boys come together and we don't talk about
No,
the
you
women
just
we
drink
hit?
and talk
I
about
personally
that.
try
Yeah.
to do that
You
with my
just
friends
drink.
though. Like I try to.
Does it make it uncomfortable for them?
If you've known me long enough, you know that I'm the kind
You
of
gonna come with
dude
it,
who
yeah.
will. Firstly, I'll accommodate your feelings, but also
Yeah.
I'll allow you to express, to share.
Yeah, sure.
Because maybe I want to as well.
Yeah, you just open the door.
You know what I mean? So I'll open the door and we'll see if we get there or not. And
makes
you allow
sense.
everyone to do as they please. But at the end of the day, it's important to know that the space does exist.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
do have someone with whom you can discuss these things that drill our soul.
Yeah, man, because we go, you know, we're not endangered, but the world is moving like we are. And some of these conversations could, you know, the reason why unity doesn't work is because the black man haven't unified. Because who's the soldiers? Who's the footman? Who's the general? You know, in most cases than not. You know, the women are leading the charge of black unity. The women, y'all, you can meet somebody from a whole nother country, and y'all, girl, you know,
you look so cute. I like your wig.
But us, we got an ego. When I meet a Nigerian, it's like, I'm better than you. When a Nigerian meet a Kenyan, I'm better than you. When a South African meet a Nigerian, I'm better than you. And it's like us as men, it's more women than we can count. I remember when the first day I got to Africa, I was in a Uber. I'm like, man, women are beautiful. He was like, we cannot finish them all. And that was like the greatest quote I ever heard, because it made me consider, like, wait a second. They outnumber us, and we mad about another man getting a woman that's our nationality? It's like, are we just being petty to be petty, or there's a real reason behind it? Because
Our ego's got a lot to do with it. You're right.
it's the ego.
Yeah.
It's because we all feel like we the best. As black men, we feel like we the best. But
Why do you reckon that is?
because we've been under the heel of groups of people for so long, now that we're finally coming up from under their heel,
So
trying to
we're
take
not only
ownership.
trying to prove to them, we're also trying to prove to
to each other.
ourselves.
Yeah, for ourselves. We gotta buy a nice car. Because if you don't got a nice car, that means you look broke.
But
We gotta dress fresh. Because if you don't dress fresh, it means you're a bum. So it's
but
like,
these are all the effects of slavery and colonialism. Right?
Sure.
So these are the, the after effects, the long-lasting
Yeah.
effects.
Psychological debris.
Yeah. Basically.
yeah, I agree. So, all right, look, y'all. I really appreciate this conversation. It was nice hearing two perspectives. One from, I don't want to misidentify either one of you, but from
Cameroon.
Cameroon, from Nigeria,
Nigeria.
of the opposite gender. And it was nice to hear this. It was nice to see different perspectives. The purpose of me doing this podcast is to build a bridge. You know, if I'm speaking to somebody from that's Afro-Brazilian, I speak Portuguese, I may not be able to connect with them, but somebody from Mozambique will.
Well, yeah.
Somebody from Angola will. Somebody from Cape Verde.
Absolutely.
If I don't know French and I'm speaking to somebody in Haiti, maybe somebody from Congo
Or the Ivory Coast.
or the Ivory Coast.
Yeah,
Or the
So,
to Senegal.
We are more connected than we realize. We just got to connect the bridges to each other. We can't keep allowing other groups of people to be to push propaganda on each other that misinforms us of our communities
And divides.
and divide us, make us think, oh, Africa's poor, oh, they hungry, oh, the black Americans are lazy, we don't want to work. So it's like, I'm glad that these discussions can happen. I hope we can have more, because this is exactly what I'm doing it for. So thank y'all, I appreciate it.
Thank you very much,
Welcome.
George.
Thank you for having us.
Appreciate you for having us.
Yeah,
appreciate
like it's always so insightful, to share like different perspectives. You learn from each other. It's really great. Somebody said you look the vendor guy.
Ndavu
And she put
Aini.
in like, oh, vendor men are very pretty, very handsome.
Hey,
what is it again?
Watch out.
Someone asked me, can we rewatch this on YouTube? Can we?
Yeah, so what's gonna happen is we're gonna go live for the episode, and then it'll be able to be rewatched on different social media platforms. I'll start tagging once I drop some content for this. I'll definitely tag and keep y'all updated, because y'all need to y'all need to double check because there's some a lot of gems that were being dropped, and it would be good if y'all just double back and follow them. That way y'all can get their tags. Y'all don't have to search too hard. The replay is typically the day after. Yeah, so all right, y'all. Thank y'all for joining the podcast. Like, I really appreciate it. The support has been unreal. Y'all the reason why I'm here, and even though, you know, my circumstances are what they are, I still got none but love for South Africa and its people. Y'all have done a lot for me. Y'all have integrated me into y'all community. Y'all have showed me peace, kindness, and I really appreciate y'all. I would say like, share, and subscribe to all platforms, and do the same to them. They are beautiful souls, and everything they said was genuine. The purpose of this is to unite, not to divide. So anything that was said, it wasn't ill will. It was literally sharing experience. And yeah, until next time, keep exploring, keep adventuring, and keep being black and on the go.
Hey.